I walked in the door thinking I made it. I secured a job at a major university in the finance department, and it wasn't entry level. Great pay, great benefits, the kind of opportunity you're told to be grateful for. And I was. Then the whispering started. Why is she taking an Uber to work every day? She's gonna run out of money. Why does she have all of these groceries in the refrigerator and water at her desk? It's a lot of food. Why? Because I was homeless. But my homelessness can't be stereotyped. You see, I wasn't homeless because I was broke. I wasn't homeless because I had mental health issues. I wasn't homeless because I was battling addiction or a victim of domestic violence. I was homeless by choice. You see, when I went into the program with my special needs daughter, I had a plan in the shelter, a strategic plan. You see, I didn't have any family or friends here. I wanted to save money, and I needed access to resources. If you don't appear to have a need, people won't help you. So the shelter was my gateway. But it wasn't easy because it was my daughter who suffered in the shelter, not me. People at work, they didn't understand the daily challenges I was facing every day, so they kept bullying. The New York in me wanted to wild out, but I had to keep my job. And I'm much more professional than that. Regardless of what I was feeling on the inside, I made sure you didn't know about how I looked on the outside. I walked in the room thinking I made it. But making it, it looked like people assuming I was some kind of charity case that just stumbled into the position by mistake. Making it looked like ageism. It looked like racism. It looked like the quiet cruelty of low expectations. Yes, I was grateful for having that job. But the real victory was me showing up and showing out every single day. Even if it meant I had to crawl in uncomfortable spaces just to fit in. I knew I needed more. I knew I could do better. And StepUp was the perfect bridge between where I was and where I'm going. They accepted me. They accepted the raw and uncut version of me. I walked right past them, downtown in Moore Square Park. I didn't pay them any mind at first. I actually crossed the street and went next to this church to get some shade. And that's where I met Mr. Jarman. Mr. Jarman, he's the Employment Academy Director for StepUp. Before I had the job at the university, he invited me to the Employment Academy, free training, free breakfast. And I thought to myself, man, he's bold for approaching me. Do I look approachable? I thought, how could he help me get a job? But he didn't know I was marketable. But I was willing to go for the free breakfast. Mr. Jarman, he had a quiet strength. I could feel his wisdom in how he spoke and how he moved. His maturity is what made me listen. But by the second day of being in the program, he had my full attention with the statistics he was dropping, because I'm a math person and it just made sense. I don't like being stereotyped, and here I was stereotyping StepUp, thinking they could only appeal to the marginalized people, like I wasn't marginalized. I am marginalized, but there's levels to it, and I'm somewhere in the middle. In areas where I thought StepUp couldn't help me, they did, and they could. Unlike the shelter, I didn't have to beg to get any help from StepUp. They did it, and they did it with open arms. They met me in my strength. They made me realize that being poured into meant being held accountable, but with love. The amount of people that impacted my life, it was insane. They were refining me, and the first polishing I ever got was from Mr. Jarman. While I was enrolled in a life skills program, I left that toxic job at the university. But to stay in StepUp, you had to be employed. And suddenly I wasn't. And again, StepUp met me where I was, an entrepreneur. I have a small jewelry business that went from being my side hustle to my main hustle. And StepUp took me serious. They allowed me to verify my income through my licenses and my sales reports, and I didn't miss one day of program. They even had childcare. That's major. They had childcare. And Ms. Dana, the volunteer coordinator, she is the epitome of Southern hospitality. She's the one who sought out a volunteer for my daughter. That played a major role in me completing this program. That volunteer also became my best friend. When I found out she was the mastermind behind getting my daughter the support she needed, it brought tears to my eyes. Dana's love was another polishing. Because I didn't have a car, I would take the bus to StepUp, and I would normally get here about an hour and a half early each day. And I used to go across the street in a church. There was this little room that I used to try to catch a nap in because I didn't have a lot of sleep at the shelter. And there was a building facilities guy by the name of Rick who used to come by. And I just knew for sure he was going to kick me out every time he saw me. But I was so surprised by his casual response. He said, "I'm probably coming back to catch the garbage. If you want, I'll wake you and your daughter up so that y'all don't miss dinner." That safe space, that space I needed to get that rest, it was another polishing. There was this night that we were being assigned co-partners in a life skills program. There was a guy in there who owned a bar, and he was really, really funny. And I just knew for sure he was going to be paired with me because I'm cool. But instead, I got paired with this older white guy in the corner. Mr. Stanford. Mr. Stanford. I will tell you, I had a lot of thoughts when I found out he was an attorney. He was on the board for StepUp, and he's a member at White Memorial Church. But within 5 minutes after meeting him, I told him my entire life story before he even knew my name. So much for having thoughts, huh? From the start, he understood where I was academically and professionally. We accepted each other for who we were. We never had to change who we were to relate to one another. He held me accountable through the program. He challenged me outside of the curriculum. He never let me lose focus, and he still checks on me. I have a lot of respect and gratitude for him. I just like him, y'all. He's really cool. Being mentored by him was a major polishing, a major polishing. Then there's Mr. Melvin. Currently, he's the program director, but when I joined, he was over the kids program. It was crazy how good he was. For a year, I got to see his greatness from afar because I never had any direct dealings with him. But his approach, his methods, his mannerism, and just to see him do what he do, it was insane. Watching Mr. Melvin was like witnessing alignment between passion and purpose. If I had a son, I would want him to have a father like Melvin. And what stood out about Mr. Melvin is he never changed his demeanor. He never changed his style. He has a reputation for following up, following through, showing up and showing out. I've seen him in action. I've watched him with my own eyes. And it set the foundation and the trust to build up that confidence when I was an alumni to finally approach him. Because there was a time when I was fighting and battling doctors from giving my daughter these labels with her developmental delay, and it was only one person I can call and one person I could trust, and it was Mr. Melvin. I needed help with that, and he was a safe space. Melvin didn't know how challenging it was for me to approach him. I have a lot of pride and a big ego. And his trustworthiness, it was another polishing, a major, major polishing. And I'm thankful for that. I got exactly what I needed and more from StepUp. They gave it to me with open arms. Through StepUp, I completed the Wake Tech's entrepreneurship program, Operation Hope's small development training, Toastmasters, and so much more. Now I'm one semester away from earning my bachelor's degree in anthropology. My business is growing. My daughter is thriving. I have a peaceful home. And I'm honored to serve as one of the ambassadors here at StepUp. But honestly, it was the small acts of kindness that I received from StepUp that meant more to me than any certificate they could have gave me, any check, any title. It was how I was seen, how I was supported, and how it was a safe space for me to just be myself. Society may not think I'm rich, but I am. Richness isn't measured by money. It's something that's carried within. And as for me, I'm a diamond. I'm a diamond that StepUp helped shine through. The gifts that they've given me, such as building healthy mentorships with men, something I never had as a child. Helping me to build community and expand my network and amplify my presence, amplify my power, amplify my purpose. And just simply a safe space to let my guard down and be myself. Sometimes all it takes is one person to see your worth. But StepUp, they gave me a whole room of that. It's that kind of love, that kind of investment that doesn't just build character, it builds a legacy, and that's priceless. Whenever I ask God for a blessing, He places a gateway before me, and I have to go through it before I get my gift. And when I entered StepUp, I was already on that journey, traveling alone with my daughter, who has special needs. And it was difficult. But I chose to keep my eyes on the promise and not the pain. But I'm not on that journey alone anymore. StepUp, they helped transform me. And that's hard for me to say, because when I walked through the door, I thought I was whole, but I wasn't. They poured into me and rebuilt what life was breaking down, and that was my consistency, my discipline, and the love I had for myself. And when StepUp pours in, they keep pouring, it overflows. It's not a one-time blessing, it's just a bunch of blessings. StepUp reminded me that sometimes growth happens quietly, and the strength that you build is by just stepping up. For all that StepUp does in our lives and in our community, what can you do for them today? We are all uncut stones, all of us. And in the right hands, with the right amount of pressure, we can turn rough edges into brilliance. So will you guys help polish the next stone? Thank you.